Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Last night I put out a video on the dark ritual behind honoring Paul Allen at the Seahawks Thursday night game hosting the Los Angeles Rams October 3rd, 2019. If you missed that video, it'll be linked in the top corner of this video in the final 20 seconds. Something I didn't talk about in the public video, but which I shared on the Patreon, is why I favored the Seahawks to win last night in light of the Paul Allen ritual. NFL.com had posted on their website prior to the game that the Seahawks were 8-1 in Thursday primetime games since 2010. That's the Pete Carroll era. And with a win, they would become 9-1. Now, the field they play on, CenturyLink Field, does equal a 91, but since the game began by honoring the death of Paul Allen, notice Allen, the surname, equals 91, and his full name, Paul Gardner Allen, also sums to 91. Not an accident. Seahawks become 9-1 on the purposefully missed field goal at the end of the game. And of course, the only reason the game even comes that close is because the NFL's a joke. The Seahawks should have put away the game by running the ball up the middle, getting the yard, getting the first down, and moving on. Just like, the only reason the game was so close in the first half was because of purposefully dumb coaching. The NFL is a fixed league. Everything is fixed about the game from the final score to the box score. There's nothing legitimate about the NFL. It's meant to psychologically mind fuck the fans. And I just talked about this with the Seahawks game a couple weeks ago where they showed the Beastquake run, and then immediately out of that break of that highlight, you had a big Seahawks run, which ended with a fumble at the end of the run, which was returned by the Saints for a defensive touchdown. And of course, on Patreon, we had the Saints winning that game. And then moments later, Russell Wilson gets his first rushing touchdown in 666 days. The number of the beast. In a game where it was all about the Beastquake. It was the Seahawks versus the Saints, where it was the Beastquake run in 2011. The NFL is a sick joke, period, And Seahawks fans should know that, but they don't. They don't learn. They can't see the obvious. They continue to spend big money and buy jerseys. And it's not just Seahawks fans. It's all of the world of sports fans. They cannot see the obvious. Seahawks would have won the Super Bowl if the NFL was legitimate. They would have ran the ball in with Marshawn Lynch. Game over. Not the 21st pass of the game on the down 2nd and 1 on the date February 1st, an interception at number 21 with 21 seconds left. That's the NFL scripting by the numbers. But anyway, Seahawks become 9-1 on Thursday, primetime games under Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson also got his 8th straight win on Thursday Night Football. Consider it's 2019. 19's the 8th prime number. There's been a lot of streaks of 8 in sports this year. Earlier this NFL season on Thursday Night Football, Cam Newton got his 8th straight loss. Keep in mind Seattle equals 19 as well, the reflection of 91. This game was on Pete Carroll's 19th day of his age. And some other things we pointed out about this game. DK Metcalf, the rookie receiver for the Seahawks, he wears the number 14. TNF equals 14. Take a look at this. He had a 40-yard touchdown, which is a big number on Thursday Night Football. And again, this is why you want to know all your base ciphers. TNF with the alphabetic order is 40. With the alphabetic order in rules numerology, it's 13. With the reverse alphabetic order, it's 41, which is the 13th prime number. And with the reverse alphabetic order in rules numerology, it's number 14. So number 14 got a 40-yard touchdown, right? The score at halftime was 13-14 because of horrible play calling. And just because the NFL is stupid. I mean, you guys, if the NFL was a real league, why wouldn't everybody just run a 2-minute offense all the time, since it's the most efficient offense by about times a million in the NFL? Why would there be any offense besides a 2-minute offense? Think about it. Why? I mean, how often have you watched a game where nobody can move the ball all game? Then they switch up to the 2-minute offense and they just go right down the field like a hot knife through butter, It's just a joke. It's a joke. And is it really that hard of a decision? Are you really going to kick a 48-yard field goal with 1 minute and 40-some seconds left when your kicker's not that good and you have a great running back who picks up a yard almost every time? A QB who can easily pick up a yard on a QB sneak? I mean, it's a no-brainer decision. You just sneak the ball, you run the ball, you get that first down, and then you milk the clock, you get into better field goal position, you have a chance at a touchdown or 3 more points without letting the other... I mean, again, the NFL's a joke. To not see this stuff week after week, you got to be brain dead. Anyway, so DK Metcalf, we talked about how before the game he had a nice little Thursday night football number. He gets a 40-yard touchdown. Here's the box score. Hold on, where'd the box score go? Where's he at? There he is. Metcalf, his long of the game was a 40-yarder. He finishes the game with 44 yards. You got to love it. Seattle's 44. The game finished with a missed 44-yard field goal, right, that won it for Seattle. Notice field goals 44 as well. And pay attention in the NFL how often 44-yard field goals are missed. And they are the highest percentage field goal to go off the goalpost, too. They're using technology to ensure outcomes. And the way you see these kickers kick the ball, you can see how they don't use their typical follow-through and form when they purposefully shank, especially on the short ones. It's in your face. Anyway, Will Dissly. I thought Will Dissly might be the leading receiver for the Seahawks last night. The reason why is because he wears the number 88. Last night's game was 87 days after his birthday or his 88th day of his age. And so often when receivers play on the day of their age, that is their jersey number, they perform well. And look at who the leading receiver was. Will Dissly for the Seahawks. Most yards. And same stuff. Oh, by the way, his name Dissly. So many of these guys who wear jersey number connects to their name. Dissly's 88. Like how he's number 88. It was his 88th day of his age. Tyler Lockett, I thought he would score 6 points last night because it was his 6th day of his age. You know, it makes sense. You catch a touchdown, you score 6 points. When he scored his touchdown, it made the score 6-6. So the guy on his 6th day of his age scores his touchdown to make the score 6-6. It's not too far off from Russell Wilson's rushing touchdown coming 666 days after his last rushing touchdown. If you write out 6 as a word, it also equals 16. Tyler Lockett wears number 16, and yesterday had 16 date numerology. Lockett also equals 103, like 10/3. The date of the game. Chris Carson, his name gematria is like Thursday Night Football. He had a big game. So, anyhow, you learn the code. You see just how rigged it is. And it's the same thing game after game, week after week. Yesterday was Pete Carroll's 19th day of his age. Seattle's 19 in the most pure cipher. Again, that's the 8th prime. Russell Wilson won his 8th straight game. And Russell Wilson improved to 8-1 on Thursday Night Football. You see? So... And again, just to cover what we covered yesterday, the reason you need all these ciphers is to see through all the rituals. Paul Allen died October 15, 2018. He was honored October 3rd, 2019, 353 days later. That's the 71st prime number. Paul Gardner Allen, 71. And that reminds me of another thing. I'm glad I looked at that. Chris Carson, you see how his name equals 71? Chris Carson. 71, like Paul Allen's full name. Let's come back up to how many rushing yards Chris Carson had in the game. 118, you see that? Death is 118, homicide's 118, his long was 14, TNF's 14, 27 carries on 10/3, like 103, the 27th prime. But what did Paul Allen die from? Cancer, right? 118. Cancer's also 44, like Seattle. So... not an accident. All games scripted from the final score to the box score. Seattle was a 1.5 point favorite, by the way. So that's why I always advise people to be conservative and take the money line. Here's a guy, Michael Cole, just wrote this morning. He said, got to give you a lot of credit, Zach. You called perfectly to watch out that Russell Wilson. Well, I didn't say that Russell Wilson would throw 4 touchdowns. I thought Russell Wilson would throw 3 touchdowns to get to 11 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns for the season. He ended up throwing 4. The reason I thought he'd throw 3 is because Thursday Night Football equals 112. And had he thrown 3, he would have had 11 and 11 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Instead, he got to 12 passing and 2 rushing. And remember, Seattle's on the 122nd meridian, and 12th man equals 122, which again was a Paul Allen concept. So we talked about that number 122 in yesterday's video on Paul Allen. Talked about it many times before with Seattle. So anyway, I was close. I thought he'd have 3. But the 4th does make sense. I see the riddle with 4 too. So, but I told people I thought it was a close game, close call. But the strongest riddle on the board was Russell Wilson. So this is how we do it. I'll give you all these game notes, go over all the possible things. It takes a lot of work to decode a game and look at all this. It's not easy. It takes time. But at the end of the football notes, because even people who follow my work, they'll be like, where's the pick at? I always put it in the same spots at the bottom. So what I wrote was dangerous game, but strongest riddle on the board is Wilson going for 8 straight on Thursday Night Football. Because we've seen a lot of streaks of 8 in 2019. Baseball and football already. 19, the 8th prime. Prime numbers are crucial. And then, of course, in the video analysis, I also talked about, improving to 9-1 in this ritual for Paul Allen. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Till next time.